Harv recently switched engines in his boat and decided it needed testing. There was an informal gathering of wooden boats taking place in Toledo, Oregon on August 21st, so he packed up the boat and headed south. His wife Kim couldn't make this trip, so since he was going to be driving right by fellow steamboater Dave Bell's house in Wheeler, that's me, he asked me if I'd sign on as deckhand for the weekend. I agreed, so he pulled in at my place the evening of the 19th with plans to work on a trailer lighting issue before making the 2-hour drive to Toledo the next morning. The wiring issue was pretty much straightforward. Because of a new surge brake on the trailer, the cord was now too short. It would unplug itself on a 90-degree right turn. So we used the remainder of that evening's light to lengthen the cord and test it out. We arrived in Toledo Friday morning and immediately prepared to launch.
We got water in the boiler. We're going for fire. We do need to oil up here. We got fire. My 1938 bow light with LED inside of it, because it gets turned on before dark, there was no way to tell that it was on because it's not dark yet and you really can't see the red and green lights from the cockpit. So I drilled a 1/16 inch hole in the back of the light body, and there's a bright white light coming through that little tiny hole when it's on.
Harv has a pre-start lubricating routine that he follows, and he took care of that prior to putting the boat in the water. Then it was time to get the boat wet and get the weekend started. The launch ramp is located a mile or so below the port dock we were to call home for the next couple of days, so we locked the truck and trailer and steamed to the dock. When we tied up, we were immediately offered a ride back to the truck in a smart-looking little tugboat, just one of the vessels gathered for the weekend's activities.
It's a tugboat. Yeah, you were hitting 6 knots.
So that's pretty good.
Well, I think it'll move out then. It'll move faster than this.
I think it tops out at 7.5, maybe 8.
Yeah, this will just barely hit 7 knots. I'll pull up next to the dock and then you can hold it.
You bet. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's stop and backtrack right here. Harv has been having fuel flow problems much of this season, and up until the night before leaving for Oregon, there was a doubt as to whether he could get the system operating well enough to make the trip. Following a little last-minute fiddling, he thought he had solved the problem and decided to head south. However, after launching in Toledo, the problem reappeared, and that's where we pick up the story once again.
So here we have a clogged quick coupler just prior to the fuel burner, and it is clogged with wood debris. We've got needles and just a lot of crud. It looks like mostly organic crud in here. Quite a bit of it. Interesting discovery. Who would have thought?
After digging all that junk out of the fitting, Harv was pretty sure he'd made an improvement. So we took on some passengers and gave it a try.
A little bit of trying to get, I believe the vacuum associated with the condenser.
Yeah, that's my exhaust basically.
So you're basically cooling down water, pressure drops that in.
I have a shell condenser underneath the deck, and I've got seawater circulating around it with a little electric pump. Condensers coming out here. That's my condensate there.
Oh, okay.
So I only know steam engines in regard of like a train. So what's the fuel? It's not.
This is diesel.
It's diesel. Okay, okay. So it'd be more similar to an oil burner.
It is an oil.
It is an oil burner. Okay.
I didn't want to chop wood all week to go steaming on the weekend.
And really that's
What's
just,
this thing in here? It's like a
I
slime.
have a hot valve. I collect it here and then I decide what I'm going to do with it. I'm either going to recirculate it or pump it back into the boiler.
Okay.
Right now I'm doing a little of both.
Okay, but like what's the thing that's like floating in there?
So there's the filter.
It is a filter. Okay, okay.
This is the filter tower. It's pumping this condensate up through it. It goes through a sponge, and your best oil filter is human hair. So it's got Jennifer's hair in there. And this club we belong to is really a lot of fun. A lot
So
of
this
good
is the
people.
Northwest Steam Society?
Yes.
Okay.
Very cool.
Part of the Yaquina Pacific Railroad Historical Society. So we have the Railroad Museum is in the waterfront park. So that's why I know steam, but train, not in this.
Your pistons are horizontal.
Exactly. I figured that out. So I heard something about a whistle.
Oh, sounds good, Dave. I think we did it. We did it.
We got it. We got it.
We had a
And look at that pressure.
We had a clogged fuel line yesterday afternoon. I've been fighting it for. I've been fighting it for I've been fighting it for 2 months. I had no idea where it was. I didn't know it was. I didn't even know what the problem was.
That's a normal noise, though, right?
Well,
Ish.
ish.
We gotta
Okay.
find that screw.
Normal-ish. It's not a concern, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going for.
Okay, hold that thought. The squeak was a bit irritating, but at the time we tolerated it. But later we would address that too. First, though, lunch.
All we managed to find a maritime museum, a bunch of boats.
You only live once, boy. Tomorrow's promised to no one, and cemeteries are just full of people we couldn't live without. So you never want to get too high on the hog about how you feel about yourself.
That's Dennis Banta from Albany, Oregon, who has this little tug. He only dons the top hat and glasses for special occasions. Okay, time to take on some more passengers.
That's all we got. Your wife doesn't want to join you? She gets car sick just standing around. So she said no thanks. Okay. Thanks for nothing. Looks like close to electric boat. Thanks again so much for honoring this. Oh, neat. Thank you so much. Nice. You're part of the memorial service. Yes.
Remember that couple with the black dog? Here they are on their boat. We ate each meal at the same restaurant in Toledo and so got to know our server. She expressed an interest in going for a ride, so when she got off on Saturday afternoon, she came on board.
What a well-oiled machine. Cool. Wait, do you want me to tend the rope?
Be a line, ropes are on cows.
Sorry, God, you sound like my brother.
Harb decided to head up the Yaquina River for a change. He had gone up there the day before with some of the locals, so he knew from that trip how picturesque it was. At some point, our little voyage went from a short ride to what would turn out to be a 3.5-hour trip upriver and back. So here we are entering Toledo again after a very rewarding excursion on the river. Now, time to chase down that pesky squeak.
I tried using pipe cleaner for my wick. Yeah, it might be too tight.
Okay, that wraps up the shakedown cruise. 2 problems solved: the fuel system mystery and the squeak. We had a wonderful weekend steaming and making new friends in the process.
You ready?
We're ready.